welcome back. We start our Saturday with some high school lacrosse. The Duluth Wolfpack back on home turf, welcoming in the Knights from Irondale to the 2-1-8. The Wolfpack on their own turf for the first time in almost 2 weeks. We start in the first quarter. Duluth already up 1-0, going around the world before senior Brett Kurth snipes one home. He doubles the damage quickly to 2-zip for the Wolfpack. Now it's junior Nicholas Mizaracco flying down the left wing. He sees an open lane, goes right to the crease, tickling the twine to give Duluth a 3-goal advantage. And shout out to one of the hardest positions in all of sports, the lacrosse goalie, junior Leif Pearson, with a pair of clutch saves on Knights attacker Freddie Bankston to keep that lead intact. And now we're in the second quarter for the Wolfpack. McKinnon Kramer from the X feeds Kurth, who wires one to the back of the net. The senior's second of the first half extends their lead. This game would take overtime, where the Wolfpack would howl their way to a 10-9 victory. McKinnon Kramer also getting that golden goal.